Ladies and gentlemen, imagine walking into any room knowing that no matter who stands across from you, whether it's a rival, a boss, or a negotiator, you already hold the upper hand. Picture having the ability to read people before they even speak, to control the tempo of every interaction, and to make others play by your rules without them even realizing it. This is not luck. It's not chance, it's strategy. And today, I'm going to show you the 5 rules that will teach you exactly how to outsmart anyone and achieve total dominance. Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely. Outsmarting anyone is not about outshouting, outmuscling, or outlucking them. It's about mastering a set of deliberate habits that shape how you see, think, and move. The first habit is relentless observation. Before you speak, before you act, you watch. Micro-expressions, pauses, where attention lands. People reveal more in what they avoid than in what they volunteer. Train your eyes to catch the small betrayals of truth, a flicker of the eyes, a rush of words, a tightening in the jaw, and treat every cue as data. Collect patterns, not anecdotes. Over time, those patterns become predictive, and prediction is the currency of advantage. Second, control the tempo. Humans decide under pressure. When you slow the room down, you force opponents to reveal plans or to make mistakes. When you speed things up, you seize initiative and compress others' thinking. Mastering tempo means managing the environment. Ask the right question, set the timing of a meeting, choose silence as a weapon, or introduce a deadline that matters. Tempo shapes choices. If you own the clock, you own a big part of the outcome. Learn to vary pace deliberately. Never be predictable in how you accelerate or decelerate. Third, think in scenarios, not single answers. Too many people treat decisions like one-off problems, the high performer antic. I Patey's 3 alternate realities for every move: the optimistic path, the likely path, and the contingency. For each scenario, blueprint a response and a counter-response. That way, surprises become expected variables, not paralyzing storms. Scenario thinking reduces emotional reactivity and increases the speed of correct action. When you plan multiple paths, you're not guessing. You're building flexibility into your thinking so that when conditions change, you do not. You adapt, you pivot, you maintain control. Fourth, cultivate presence and projection. Presence is how you inhabit a room. Projection is how your intent travels. People follow cues, volume, posture, clarity, and calm. Speak with authority because you practiced clarity, not because you crave dominance. Use concise language, strip filler, and hedging. Project competence by aligning words, tone, and movement. When people sense confidence anchored in competence, they will bend toward your framing even if they privately disagree. Presence is not performance. It is preparation made visible. Fifth, make decisions with a bias for action backed by reflection. Analysis without action is procrastination. Action without analysis is recklessness. Pair movement with immediate review loops. Act, measure, adjust. Short cycles beat long deliberations because they create feedback, and feedback breeds advantage. If you are comfortable being imperfect faster than others, you will use iteration to outpace them. Winners aren't those who never fail. They are those who fail forward, extract lessons fast, and apply them. Use each small result as a data point in a larger experiment. Underpinning these 5 habits are 3 truths you must accept. First truth, information asymmetry flows to the prepared. The person who knows more, quicker, wins. Your job is not to gather everything, but to gather the right things early. Second truth, emotional states are contagious. Manage your own moods like tools. If you bring panic, you sow panic. If you bring composure, you create space for rational decisions. Third truth, perception molds reality. Control what others perceive by being deliberate with signals, what you show, what you hide, and how you time both. Practical drills make these principles real. For observation, practice a 30-minute people watch where you map behaviors without interpreting motives. For tempo, run meetings where you deliberately shorten speaking slots, forcing clarity. For scenario planning, take a recent decision and write down 3 plausible futures with plans for each. For presence, record yourself speaking for 60 seconds and trim to the most potent 30. For action bias, commit to experiments that have clear metrics and an end date. These exercises build muscle memory so that under stress, your instincts align with strategy. You will encounter resistance. People will accuse you of manipulation when you are simply methodical. Ignore the noise. Clarity of intent matters. Use these tools to create better outcomes, to protect time, to build mutual respect, not to humiliate or harm. Ethics anchor strategy. Morality steers power towards sustainable success. Outsmarting anyone without a moral compass is empty and dangerous. Let your code be to win with honor. Remember that social intelligence is a muscle. It grows when stretched. The best question to ask yourself after any interaction is not, did I win? But what data did I leave with that I didn't have before? That orientation shifts you from ego to learning. Keep a running log of those micro insights and review them weekly. Patterns will reveal leverage points, people's triggers, timing windows, and predictable responses that you can use ethically to influence outcomes. Confidence without competence collapses. So pair every outward posture with inward work. Study negotiation, human behavior, body language, and scenarios from different disciplines, military tactics, real-world negotiation, journalism, then synthesize what applies. Excellence is not imitation, it's adaptation. Use frameworks, then bend them to fit the messy, human terrain you face. Mastery emerges when you convert knowledge into calibrated response, when preparation meets the pressure of the moment. Finally, commit to being better, not just smarter. Intelligence without integrity rusts. Dominance without responsibility is brittle. Use these rules to sharpen your mind, to protect your team, to create options where there were none. Outsmarting someone should feel like opening a door, not slamming it. When you apply observation, tempo, scenario thinking, presence, and action bias with ethical precision, you do more than win arguments. You change the distribution of possibility in your life. Tonight, pick one interaction, a meeting, a phone call, or a casual conversation, and practice a single element. Slow the tempo, ask one clarifying question, or test a scenario. Log what changed. Repeat this every day for 30 days. Small, deliberate repetition rewires instinct into strategy. Over time, the room stops feeling like a guessing game and starts feeling like terrain you can map and navigate with intention. The faster you start to apply these rules in real time, the more they cease to feel like strategies and begin to feel like second nature. This is where the real power lies, not in memorizing steps, but in rewiring how you process human behavior and decision-making. Outsmarting anyone is not a one-off tactic. It's the result of continuous practice until it becomes instinctive. When you walk into a room, you must carry yourself with the calm assurance of someone who already knows the terrain, even if you've never been there before. That composure is built from the habits you've rehearsed over and over when no one was watching. Too many people live reactive lives. They wait for situations to unfold and then scramble to respond. The person who masters dominance doesn't wait. They shape. They prime the environment before others even realize the game has begun. Think of it this way. Whoever frames the narrative first owns the narrative. If you walk into a negotiation and define the terms early, the other side is already adjusting to your playing field. If you're in conflict and you calmly present a path forward, you've shifted the emotional climate. Outsmarting isn't only about spotting weakness, it's about creating the stage on which everyone else must perform. Consider the impact of silence. Most people can't handle it. They rush to fill it with nervous chatter, explanations, or concessions. The one who masters silence has a weapon few ever use when some minds. Eon challenges you. Pause. When they demand an answer, wait. That pause does more than buy time. It unsettles. It forces others to reveal more than they planned. Dominance doesn't always roar. It often whispers, waits, and watches. Leverage curiosity as a weapon. Ask questions others are too distracted or too proud to ask. Each question disarms because it shifts the spotlight. People love to talk about themselves, and when they do, they expose more than their words. They expose values, fears, blind spots. The art of asking is the art of pulling. While they reveal, you map. While they explain, you build the structure of how they think. That blueprint becomes the roadmap to steering the interaction wherever you choose. Remember that most people underestimate preparation. They wing it, convinced their charm or experience will carry them through. But preparation is invisible power. You may never flaunt the hours you spent rehearsing scenarios, but they manifest when you stay calm under fire, when you already have 3 contingencies for every twist, when others flinch and you don't. Outsmarting isn't magic. It's simply doing what others are too lazy to do consistently. It's discipline disguised as genius. One of the most potent strategies is mastering contrast. Humans perceive reality in relative terms. If you want your ideas accepted, present a worse alternative first. If you want your presence to command, enter a room with deliberate stillness when everyone else is loud. If you want your offer to look irresistible, position it next to something less appealing. Contrast sharpens perception, and perception is often stronger than logic. By controlling contrast, you bend reality in your favor. Dominance also requires knowing when to yield. Outsmarting doesn't mean bulldozing. Sometimes the greatest power move is stepping back, letting the other side think they've won, while you secure what you really wanted all along. People confuse surrender with weakness, but in reality, strategic yielding is leverage. You conserve energy, you protect alliances, and you strike when it matters most. Remember, the one who fights every battle loses the war. The one who chooses battles wisely always has reserves left when it counts. Language is another tool you must wield with precision. Words are not neutral. They either command or they leak. Eliminate weak language from your vocabulary. Words like maybe, sort of, kind of, and I think broadcast uncertainty. Replace them with decisive language. This is, we will, it must. Even when discussing options, frame them with authority. Here are the 2 paths we can take. Language sculpts perception, and perception defines whether others defer or dismiss. Control doesn't mean rigidity. The smartest people are adaptable chameleons. They read the room and calibrate tone, posture, and energy. With one group, you may project intensity, with another, warmth. With one person, you challenge directly. With another, you guide subtly. Outsmarting means being unpredictable while still being authentic. You are not faking. You are flexing. Like water, you fit the container without losing your essence. The rigid crack, the flexible dominate. Learn to see what is not said. In any conversation, there is the spoken layer and the hidden layer. The spoken layer is obvious. Facts, stories, arguments. The hidden layer is intention, what they want, fear, or protect. Outsmarting anyone means listening beneath the words. When someone argues aggressively, they often hide insecurity. When someone downplays, they often mask ambition. Train yourself. F to decode intention, not just information. Once you identify the hidden layer, you control the dynamic because you know what they are really playing for. There's also the power of pace. Outlasting someone is often more effective than overpowering them. Most people give up when things get uncomfortable, repetitive, or slow. If you can stay patient, if you can grind longer without frustration, you win by default. Outsmarting doesn't always require brilliance. Sometimes it simply requires endurance. The longer you keep your composure, the faster others reveal cracks. Patience is strategy disguised as stillness, and never underestimate the impact of reputation. Outsmarting in the moment is powerful, but true dominance is built before the first word is spoken. People walk into rooms already carrying beliefs about you. If your reputation is sharp, decisive, and reliable, you've already won half the battle before it begins. Cultivate a reputation for strength combined with fairness, for intelligence tempered with discipline. People adjust themselves based on who they believe you are. The moment your name enters the room, the game has already shifted in your favor. Emotions are both a weakness and a weapon. Most people are puppets of their emotions. They get angry and blurt, fearful and freeze, excited and rush. If you can master your own emotions, you become untouchable. But mastery doesn't mean suppressing them. It means channeling them. Anger becomes fuel for intensity. Fear sharpens focus. Excitement drives momentum. You are not a prisoner of your emotions. You are the commander of them. Once you command yourself, you can influence others because they instinctively mirror what you project. You must also master the art of ambiguity. Not every move needs explanation. Not every thought must be shared. The less predictable you are, the more others hesitate. Uncertainty in others creates caution, and caution slows them down. When people can't quite figure you out, they leave room for your influence. Mystery is not about being secretive. It's about being deliberate in what you reveal and what you withhold. Too much clarity breeds complacency. Controlled ambiguity breeds intrigue and respect. Every interaction is a test. Either you control the frame or the frame controls you. Outsmarting is not about being the loudest voice, but about being the voice that defines the rules of engagement. When you walk into any exchange, ask yourself, whose frame am I in? If it's not yours, shift it. Ask a question that redirects attention. Change the environment, reset the tempo. Whoever owns the frame owns the power. At the core, outsmarting anyone is a mental game of energy management. Your energy must be higher, sharper, and more focused than theirs. Energy is not noise, it is clarity. It's the unwavering signal that you know what you're doing and where you're going. People instinctively defer to the one with higher certainty. Certainty doesn't mean arrogance. It means alignment between your preparation, your body language, your tone, and your words. When everything lines up, people feel it. The truth is, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to be the most disciplined, the most prepared, the most composed. Outsmarting is less about raw intellect and more about application. Knowledge without discipline is trivia. Discipline without knowledge is wasted effort. The fusion of both creates total dominance. It's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing enough, acting fast, and controlling outcomes consistently. And above all, it is about practice. C. Outsmarting cannot remain theory in your head. It must live in your actions. The rules only work if you work them. You must rehearse silence until it feels comfortable. You must practice framing conversations until it becomes instinct. You must condition your emotions until composure feels natural. These are not tricks. They are muscles. And like any muscle, they only grow when pushed, strained, and used relentlessly.